Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Whoa, my voice got real low. This is Sad Times. My name is Kevin. Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who have never listened to Sad Times before, welcome. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you're able to listen to some of our back catalog. Sad Times is a show in which we have a guest on each week, and they talk about traumatic things they've gone through, times they were upset, angry, sad. So it's not just a clever name. And we believe at Sad Times that having these guests on to tell their stories are very effective because people might be listening in the boardroom or might be listening while doing the dishes or wherever you may be. And you might hear a story that you thought, oh, I was the only one who thought that way. The goal of Sad Times is to remind everyone that they are not alone and to continue having stories which are the healing power of humankind. So that's Sad Times. We do have a website. It is on the World Wide Web, as I like to say, www.sadtimespodcast.com. Please go check it out. And we do appear wherever podcasts magically appear on your devices. If you do go to the website as well, you can register to be a guest, and we can let you know. I'll let you know that the number one rule of Sad Times is the guests choose 100% of what we talk about. We have a bit of a special episode. This is, we're going to get to here in a moment, but we have a very special sponsor as well. I received this, Brent, I don't believe I've even told you about this sponsor yet. I received this at our marketing email, and they gave us a lot of money for this. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it, and then I'm going to tell you what the ad copy says, okay? So today's sponsor is my right knee at about the 23.7 mile mark of the Chicago Marathon. Okay, all right? And the ad copy is, I will explode now and you will not finish. All right, cool. I mean, they gave us a lot of money. Do not forget to support our sponsors. Use the code FAKE, that's FAKE at checkout. All right. As I said, a very special show. We had this guest on not too terribly long ago, just before the Chicago Marathon, and now we're having him back on to talk about that, running, and a number of other things. It is the returning champion, Jon. Jon, how are you doing?
Great, sir. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Thank you very much. So you got me into this in a lot of ways, you motherfucker.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So it is, as of this recording, 1 month and 1 day since the marathon.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
When you think that the marathon's never going to end, and then all of a sudden it's a month later. So this was, let's remind everyone where you're from, and then tell us about your history with marathons.
From originally?
Wherever you'd like.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're just going to say, originally from Dayton, Ohio, but been in Chicago on and off for about, 14 years? Something like that. I don't remember anymore. What is time, Kevin?
It's a fucker.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and how many marathons have you run now?
That was 31 last month.
31.
Yeah.
Now that, let's just, again, we're treading some old ground. I just want to know, what got you into running marathons again?
A friend of mine's sister-in-law ran the New York City Marathon, which actually just happened last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting stuff. Want to do it. She ran it, got me interested in that. Right around the time I moved to Chicago, were sign-ups for Chicago. And it just kind of lined up that way where I wanted to do it. I signed up for it, trained for it, and I did it.
There you go. So let's talk about this year's marathon.
Yeah.
I want you to talk.
Where do you want to start?
Not at the starting line again, because that was very far back.
So long.
It's very long. I will say this. You had told me that it's kind of like a big party, and it is. Mm-hmm. Unless you're running, then it's not a party at all. But everybody along the streets, and people are there cheering people on, even if they don't necessarily know anybody. Yep. It's just a really feel-good atmosphere. And it's not just like for certain stretches of the race. It's the whole 26 miles.
Yeah, it's incredible. There
are people cheering. They got these signs and stuff. Tell us about your race this year and how it went.
It was super special for me for numerous reasons, but the main thing was my sister was in town for the first time. She's never seen Chicago, the Chicago Marathon. My mom and my sister were there, but she had never been to we've only done Disney and smaller races and things like that, but she had never seen like a world major, something as like massive as Chicago. And she loved it. And I was like very fortunate to see them twice. I saw them very early on when it still felt like it was a good idea to do a marathon around mile 2. And then I saw them around Old Town. So that was probably like 11 or
That's
something.
Like 9 maybe.
Yeah. That area. So like still feeling pretty good. But it was really cool for her to experience that because she got to see the elite runners.
Did your mom and sister see like the winner whose name is escaping me at this point?
Yes. No, they got video. Yeah, they were
of him just sprinting down the road, or her, or whomever.
The 2-hour marathon record.
Yeah. Say that one more time. How long was it?
I don't want to.
It was 2 hours and 35 seconds.
Yes,
I think
that sounds right. I feel terrible for that. There was a lot of records broken that day too. I think it was the highest capacity marathon with runners. The Masters record was broken by Des Linden.
What is the Masters?
40 and over.
Are you saying I'm a master?
Sure.
I'm finally a master of something.
But she crushed it. Kelvin Kiptum won from Kenya, 2 hours, 35 seconds.
All right, let's just do the math for me real fast. So that's 26.2 miles. That's like what, 436 a mile?
Something like that.
Think about that. 436 a mile. Have you ever even come close to running a mile at 436?
The fastest mile I've ever run in my life, and I did it on purpose, and I couldn't breathe when I was done, was 6 minutes flat. And I could
You ran a 6-minute mile?
Well, I timed it I ran straight. It was down Ainsley and Lincoln Square. Just ran my ass off. This was just to see, and I could not function when I was done. And it was 6 minutes flat.
Now, cut another minute and a half off that, and then do it 25 more times.
Yeah.
It's otherworldly.
25.2 more times.
Shut up. Sorry. Not usually this mean to the guests.
Well, it's ridiculous. You're entitled to be mad. It's weird.
And the guy didn't even, I mean, he didn't seem too worn out.
He said he didn't. He said he didn't start to feel. He didn't even feel pain yet. And he's only done 3 marathons, and he's won every one and broken 2 records.
He's only done 3 marathons?
Yeah, his first marathon was in December.
That's not really?
Yeah, and he's 23.
Okay.
But just obviously they're just specimens and magical people. But like, it's crazy.
I know you don't know how the sausage is made, how we pay the bills around here, but when you listen to the episode, you're going to hear about our sponsor, which was my right knee at the 23.7 mile mark.
Oh, we can talk about that.
Yeah, and I felt a lot of pain. I'm trying not to complain. I mean, there was something at around the 21 mile mark for people where you could run off. What's that stuff where they spray it on you for muscle pain?
Oh, you didn't go to the biofreeze zone?
No.
That's like the best part.
No, didn't go to that.
That was dumb.
That was the best part? Is that why one signs up for marathons?
Best part of that area.
Oh, you mean that little section where it was?
Yeah.
So that's about 21 miles. Let's talk about miles 22 through 24.
So something new in the marathon, I want to say within the past 3 years, is they do a turnaround. And the Chicago Marathon never used to have a turnaround. You would be a one straight course.
Yeah.
Everything was fresh. Everything was new. So whether you were dying or not, it was still, you were taking in a new site. And there was still just like the vision of like an idea of finishing.
Right.
But now between, what is it, 22 to 24? Was that it?
They're around. They're around.
But there's a turnaround, and you can't see where the turnaround is. And that's right around where you're mentally just drained. You're physically super drained. You're ideally not hitting a wall, but probably hitting a wall. It's the hottest of the day usually. It's just the worst of the worst. And it's just god awful. And I even knew it was coming, and it's still god awful.
I had no idea it was coming. And the thing is, you are running down, and you see the people who are coming from the turnaround.
Yeah.
So they're ahead of you by a couple miles.
And you think it's
and
close.
they're running. Yeah. Oh, you think it's close because they're like right across the sidewalk basically from you. And you're like, okay. And then it just keeps going and going and going. I lost sense of what direction we were going.
Yeah.
Until finally that turn came, and God, it was terrible. So what was going through your mind, around that time, mile 22 through 24, even as somebody who's run, as you have, 31 of these?
I did knock out my 20-mile training run, so that's in my mind, I'm more prepared, I guess, but I was very undertrained, per usual. Not a good thing, but I was in agony. That was where, like, I thought I was running, but probably was just, like, skidding along type of thing. It's rough. It was really, really bad. not like, I think I talked about this last time. It's not, I wasn't hurt like something was broken but I was just like, I was a spirit and body was just like so drained. I think my experience through it was the only thing that got me through it. Also, there's something about the turnaround that sucks as well, is when you see the other side, you could see the mile marker for like 24. I'm like, I'm at 22.
Yeah.
Where's 23?
And then you're like, are they spacing the mile markers off out in longer distances as you get longer? Because it feels, because obviously you're going slower. Well, unless you're Kelvin.
Kitchen,
yeah. Then you're going very, very fast. So what did you ever think you weren't going to finish?
I always think I'm not going to finish in the conversation in my brain. But
tell me about that conversation.
I'm sure you can relate now. No, like it goes from excitement to experience history to push through things to you're not going to make it to you need to walk to you need to run to, you know, just everything goes through your mind through a marathon, especially when you're not properly, whatever that means, prepared. So yeah, my sister and mother were definitely a good milestone point to get me through it, like mentally, because I knew I'd see them at the end. But that was that's why I think I keep going back, because it's never gotten like, well, I could do this now. Like it's so
it's always a challenge.
Always a challenge.
Yeah.
And it's so funny where no matter how hard you're trying to accomplish a time or trying to get done in a certain amount, and like as long as you're not like hurt, just finishing is just such an accomplishment. And like no one comprehends that outside of people that do it. Like everybody, no, not a ton of people do it all the time, but there is sometimes subtle sarcasm about like, oh, but you didn't win, or, you know, like busting balls. But like, you really just don't know until you do something like that. And that's why I keep going back to that. Also, it's just like so ingrained in my blood, that race in Chicago, that I just like, I can't see myself never not doing it unless I was like hurt or not here.
Right.
Like I didn't do it 1 year just because I was on the road, and it crushed me. It sucked so bad. You
know, as a first timer this year, one of the couple things that stood out to me, that surprised me, I guess I should say, almost everybody walks.
Oh,
and some people walk quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
And the other is that people, spectators, love to just run across, run in front of other. These are people who are not running the race, who are like trying to get from one side of the street to the other, and they just run through there. I did not get that I remember.
You got to go back.
Oh, is that why I have to run it again? I want to say too, when in the mile 22 through 24 area,
we got to call that something.
How about hell?
The suck zone.
Yeah, the suck zone of hell. How about Dante's Inferno? Great. He's a poet.
Certainly does suck.
Second Wayne's World quote of the episode.
Thank you so much.
So, God damn it. Something that was going through my head is a guest of the show. She did 3 episodes with us. A wonderful woman named Katie has run a marathon. She's just run one. And she sent me an email shortly before the marathon. And I kept thinking about that email because she's like, Kevin, you can do this. And when I was like, my knee was about to explode, I was really worried I was going to get hurt. So I was thinking about that email a lot. So if Katie, if you're listening, thank you again for that, because that was a big motivator for me for sure. What was your favorite sign? So people have signs at this thing.
Oh my gosh, I should have wrote those down.
You told me one that I did not see. And that is now my favorite sign, even though I didn't see it. And it was the one that said, "Run from me like my father did when I was 5."
Right. Right. Sorry.
It's okay.
Right. No, it's just like, it can completely, excuse me, I can completely take you out of your head.
Yeah.
Like you're not thinking about that knee for, even if it's for 2 seconds,
yeah.
You're just like, it's so great. Like you run better than the government. That was a
lot of those. Yeah. A lot of people are just like, these people are just out to support and be supportive. There's no negativity about it. Yeah. They're just like, you guys are super, you guys are like my superhero, like signs like that.
You see a lot of power up Mario mushrooms.
Yeah, like you run by and you hit the sign.
Hit for energy. Yeah, like there's not, like, I'm sure other cities are magical, but like everybody's just so happy to see you. And they're just like, I could be in bed for this signs, or, I'd rather be in bed, or,
you think, another one I saw was, you think this is hard, try dating in Chicago.
Yeah. Just like, it's amazing. The New York City Marathon one had a magical one. They said, Michigan stole my other sign, which I got a good chuckle out of.
So,
that's great.
I can think of a couple people that I ran near, or, you're weaving in and out of people, or they're passing you. I saw a gentleman with no legs running it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Which was incredible. And then I ran behind a killer clown for a little while.
Didn't know that.
He had like a whole clown get up with blood all over it, and had the clown wig.
How did I miss that conversation with you?
Yeah, I don't know if I even brought it up to you. So I got done with the race, and I ran through the finish line, and I didn't know exactly where the finish line was, so I just kept going until everybody else stopped. I mean, obviously there's a huge thing that says finish, but then I didn't know where it stopped, because there's something in your bib, that piece of paper that you could track, that tracks you. And so I got through that, and my legs were not doing well, and so I stopped and kind of bent over and leaned my elbows on my legs and was trying to stretch them. And a gentleman goes, sir, are you okay?
Oh, they're my favorite.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just trying to stretch my legs. But then and then they're like, all right, let's move along.
Can you move along?
And I wanted to be like, why don't you move along, man?
It's like, never done this before. Yeah. If I could backpedal a little bit, I found my text for my favorite 3.
Yeah.
And your 18 weeks of training lasted longer than my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
In Boys Town, love your stamina. Call me.
Yeah.
With the rainbow. It was amazing. The drag queens in Boys Town.
There was a drag show going on in Boys Town. That was cool.
And then run from me like my father did when I was 5.
That's the best one.
Truly sad times.
Oh man. And I also said to anybody does anybody have, like, say a propensity or need to litter? Let's just say somebody out there, like, that's their thing.
Oh, yeah.
Run a marathon, buddy. You can just litter with no consequence at all. You're just throwing shit left and right. You're throwing little cups of water, Gatorade, all energy gel wrappers.
Earbuds, gloves, shirts, the occasional shoe.
I saw somebody do a shot of Malort.
I did a shot of Malort last year.
No, thank you.
They're always under the bridge around in the 20s.
I would have thrown up everywhere. I thought I was going to throw up anyway.
Oh, I ran with a beer. I forgot.
That's right. You had a half acre?
Yeah. No, my buddy Kevin met me.
Was it me?
No, another. I said my buddy Kevin.
Whoa.
He, buddy, not bestie.
Oh.
But no, he met me and he ran with me for about a quarter mile, and I cracked one open and I ran with a can of, what was it? Either way, it was a good time.
Did that not make you feel sick?
It takes my mind off of it, which probably isn't a good thing. No, it was just a nice kind of change of pace, literally. Thank you so much. No, it was really good, just to kind of see a familiar face, and just to kind of do what we do, because he's an endurance athlete as well, and we love our beer culture, and it was just a really cool, like, take a second. It was over by kind of United Center area too, kind of where it starts to kind of get Ghostland.
Yep.
Like, there's people, but like, it's definitely not the
You
masses.
go all the way down, and then you come back and go all the way around. Another thing that I thought of a lot during the race is something that, and I'm going to misquote you, so I'm sorry, I'm paraphrasing you, is you talk about how what you love about distance running is it strips away all the bullshit, and it's just you and the run and you and your mind. So when I was really, really hating it, I was trying to think that and say, okay, what can I focus on maybe outside of this run that I really need to think through without any of the bullshit, any of it, and just think through those things. So that was really helpful to me. So I thank you for that.
Awesome. You're welcome.
Do you find that that's the case every time you run one of these?
I can run 3 miles. It strips away my bullshit. It's about, it does. I just think when it just, I want to phrase it correctly. It's just, like I said, it just strips away bullshit. Like, you're not thinking, like, the petty, like the silly, the stuff that's not going to matter. Like, it just doesn't matter. To quote Bill Murray in Meatballs, it just doesn't matter. Meatballs is great. Sorry.
Ivan Reitman. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
No, you, that's why I will forever do it, and that's why I need to consistently do it. And that could be just getting outside to run for a little bit, like that. That is my therapy. I want to meditate more, but I also realize I get so much out of that. I have so many forms of things that are also very meditative that I don't think about. Like I try to do morning pages. I try to run. I try to really sit down and meditate. And like they're all forms of brain kind of drain where you can just kind of go into your day. If you get
What is morning pages? Tell us what that is.
Oh, morning pages is part of a book called The Artist's Way by Julie Cameron. And it's you take three like a legal pad, 3 pages, and you just free write. There's no punctuation, there's no form, there's no thought. You can go from this to that, and then you either I think in the book they recommend you keep them for 8 weeks and then start finding patterns, like things you're interested in or things that are really bothering you. I've gotten song lyrics out of them, but or you just immediately throw them away. Because that's kind of how meditation works in a way. You want to just kind of get clear, and like any kind of random thought, you just write down. Some people just like, it could be their errands. Like, I need to do this today, and I work today. I need to talk to them and make that phone call. Or sometimes you just write like, and then why do I love apples so much? And holy shit, I need to call this person. And oh, I miss my mom. And
do you find when you're writing those, like you start at the top of, say, page 1, by 3/4 of the way down page 1, you're writing about something you had no idea you were even going to write about?
That's exactly what it's about.
Yeah. And that's a pretty cool feeling, isn't it?
I love it. No, and when I consistently do it, which I don't, I'm so happy. Like I bought the book and I tried it 3 times, and I finally figured it out during the pandemic because nothing was going on where I was. And my buddy Nathan Aaron, who I went to AMDA with in New York City, he actually teaches it. So I think it was 8 of us from around the country were Zooming in once a week. So we were given homework, and it was like this amazing thing that I stuck with it for 12 weeks. And it was like so wonderful. And he's been doing morning pages for, I think, up to 10 years.
What would you say it's so wonderful? What were the biggest benefits that you took from it?
Humbling yourself, being open. It was such a therapeutic surrounding. You learn so much about yourself. It's so relatable hearing people's similar problems. It's very similar to this podcast. You just listen to people's situations. Like, you are a completely different person than I am, and you completely relate to what I'm talking about because you're going through the same thing. You know, there were single mothers, and there were mothers with full families, and there was me who was like just completely single and living in Florida back with his folks because of the pandemic, and everybody was going through such different situations, but we all had like core goals about just wanting to, branch out.
Yeah. And during the pandemic, did you, another thing you and I have talked about is, in my limited experience of running, it's very limited. No matter how many times you've done it, it's still a pain in the ass to go outside and do it. Very or much. Go on the treadmill, whatever it is. And did you find yourself running more during the pandemic because there was so little to do and it got you out of the house?
I was in the best shape of my life, I think, during the pandemic. I guess there was like 2 ways you could have went in the pandemic, right? Like everybody went to like the bottle,
yeah,
or or they got jacked or in shape. I got super in shape. I kind of did both because actually where I used to do the morning pages was the same table where me and you did a Zoom drink.
Oh man. During the pandemic, we did it was like an 11-hour meeting. It was awesome. And then I ran 7 miles the next day, and I thought I was going to die.
You ran after that?
It was horrible.
That was the drunkest I probably was during the pandemic.
You made me buy that goddamn book about Fleetwood Mac, Making Rumors.
So good.
I haven't read it yet.
So good, King Calais.
Yeah. You know why they put that U in there?
No.
Okay, well, it's not how you spell it. Okay.
Not the English translation?
No. Now, I don't like running. Okay. And I started running during the pandemic because gyms closed, and I'm in a extremely anxious person, and I have to do something, it turns out. And so I started running, and it was horrible. And I just kept doing it because it does have that benefit. I don't know if I ever get, say, a quote unquote runner's high. I just forget that I'm running. That's the best part of running. When you run a long distance, it's like your body's still doing it. And if you're like, look down, you're like, yep, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot.
And that's the thing. No matter how you feel, it's still going to benefit you.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. Please. So what gets you going out there when you're not training for a race?
Not a lot. It's the hardest thing still. I'm on a 2-day streak right now, about to be my third tonight because I am going. But it's really hard for me to still get out the door when I'm not thinking about a streak or a race. Or another reason I ran so much in the pandemic, I signed up for this 1,000K virtual race thing that me and my buddy were doing in Texas. So we had 5 miles we had to do every day to get it done. And we weren't doing anything. Well, I wasn't doing anything. So like it was even more bullshit if I didn't get out the door. So it was Florida. It was summer. It was so hot. I was just dropping weight, making miles, and it was amazing.
What app do you use? Or do you use an app?
I did use Strava until it got social media-y for me. And I hated it. It became more of an obligation of like, who's liking my run posts, or who's messaging me, or like, and then spam requests. And it just, I run to get away from media.
Yeah.
And Strava to me became media. So I stopped using that about 6 months ago. So I just use whatever, was it Apple Fitness or whatever comes with the watch. It's just for me, I can post if I want, but like, I'm also trying not to post to like,
Tell me about the anxiety it gives you to post or not to post.
I hate it. I'm very addicted to social media, and getting way better about getting validation through it. But it's getting less and less by the days, and I love it, and I hope it sticks. I hope it's not just like a phase I'm going through. I love kind of being quiet. I love working in quiet, and I think me personally, I think posting or getting emotions out, me personally, there's nothing wrong with any of this, but me personally, like posting about my runs or whatever I'm going through or what brewery I'm at, all this stuff, I think all this creative outlet I'm putting towards social media is pulling away from my artistic endeavors, my songwriting, my time to read, my time to create, and then I don't do that at all. My time to run, but I'm just so, and it drives me crazy. I have such a love-hate relationship with social media. I envy my sister so much.
Is she not on social media?
No, not since 2012. And she just went, nope. It was like a cold turkey thing. It wasn't too big in her life, but she just stopped, and it was awesome. And she's like, and she's been happier than ever because she's like, I don't think about anything. I do hate that I do appreciate social media where like me and my mother will send stupid dog memes or that stuff's great. Or to have a connection with like my mom connects to our friends in England through Facebook, and that stuff's amazing. But like, I feel like, why don't we just go have, like, me and you are great about that. It's like, we would just go have coffee and catch up, or we'll go have dinner or see a movie. And like, when I have friends where I live, where we just kind of connect through online, when we just could just be hanging out, you know, and that's not always the case. Like, people are busy, and I appreciate all that, but, it just sucks sometimes. And it's like getting easier and easier to just kind of live through a meme, and we're all guilty of it. But I would just rather you are getting more active on social media. Well, like, but it's also your business. So like, I get it, but like, I'll find myself sending you, Major League or WWF memes, as opposed to being like, ooh, check this out. This might apply to your podcast. So
you sent me a lot of running stuff on the way up to the marathon, which was really cool.
Yeah. So if it's utilized like that, and that looks different for everybody, like, who knows what social media looks like for someone in a small town? Like, we have Chicago at our feet, and there's so much to do, and sometimes we just get locked in. And again, this is all me. There's like nothing wrong with any of it if you balance it. There's nothing really wrong with anything if you just balance it. But for me, I just get so locked in and in my head about it, and it's kind of turned me into an asshole sometimes, and it drives me crazy. And also, social media can keep you in the past if you stay locked in the past. Yeah, and I hate it. Like, it must have been so great to end a relationship with someone in the 80s. You maybe saw them at Kroger, like Kroger. You might have got a "I miss you" voicemail, but like, you missed her call, and this is a whole nother conversation, but just like, you can't get over anything. Another thing where it's wonderful, like, if I'm in my head about all this stuff, if I go out for a run, I'm not even having this conversation right now because it's irrelevant. It's just like, this is silly. Take care of it the way you can take care of it. And things get better through, like, work.
So when you were running those 5 miles a day,
Yeah.
and all of that, did you find over a prolonged period of time that your anxiety was lessened, that maybe your doubting and depression, and did you find, let's start with that. Did you find that those things were lessened while you were doing that?
It helped me immensely. I don't know if you remember this. Running kept me out of my head. So during the pandemic, I was in New York with a girlfriend, and the pandemic happened, and we had a really bad fight, and she lived in Connecticut, and the next day she was gone because it was a pandemic. So then I was planning to get back to Florida. So we really never had this kind of weird like closure. So I turned to running. I don't know if you remember this, but I called you one morning just like sobbing, being like, I have to call her, I have to talk to her. I think I don't know if you remember that conversation, but
I think I do.
But running kind of brought this kind of sobbing thing out of me, and while it was still not pretty, we got closure on it. Or I think we got closure on it, but I don't even know if it was necessarily closure, but we got forward movement. It wasn't just like this stagnant, like she left, I went back to Florida, world was burning, kind of situation. But I remember, but it was running when I kind of got this closure. I was doing a morning run, and Taylor Swift's Folklore just came out. So I love doing Shut Up. She's wonderful.
No, she's pretty good.
Well, my gateway drug was The National, was working with her, the Desner brothers.
Yeah, you love The National.
I never talk about The National.
Certainly don't have any tattoos of it.
But not as many as you.
Stop it.
Fan theories start.
Yeah, my father might be listening to this. Dad, I don't have any tattoos.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, so yeah, I'll get really in my head and emotional, like running to music. I do these album runs, and then I just was like, I was running and my mind was going, and I just started sobbing, and then I called you, and then I called her, and then like closure started. So it was awful, but like running kind of got me there.
Going back to crying and running.
Which variety?
Yes, the end of this marathon, at least this year, again, the only one I've run. You could not see the finish line until you were like 200 meters away, like 150 meters away. Like, remember, you turned
just past the hill.
Yeah, and that hill. What the fuck was that about?
You know what's funny? You lived right by that hill. Not very big.
No,
very big.
Very big. You go up this hill and turn left, and as I turned left, there's that big red sign with the white letters that said finish. I got choked up, and I started, and you had told me that the last episode that you started crying when you saw it. Happened to me involuntarily. Mm-hmm. I was just like, oh my God, there it is.
Yeah.
You got a big, how's that for a transition? You got a big day coming up in December. What's that going to be?
Christmas?
After that.
New Year's.
Before that.
December 27th.
Yeah, and what happens on that day this year?
I am turning 40 years old.
40. So now you're going to become a master like me.
And Des Linden. We're up there with the Olympians.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Yeah.
All it takes is to turn 40 and you can be an Olympian.
It's just 40, so you missed it.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. Hey, what? Shh, don't tell them how old I am. As you're aging, you're getting older, you're turning 40. When I was a kid, I remember my mom's 40th birthday party.
Me too. That's what's fucking driving me.
Did she get a bunch of over the hill cards and all that stuff?
No, it was more my dad. I remember my dad being 40, which is like wild. I really don't remember, I just remember my dad being 40. Like I remember that moment, and like that's the weird thing for me. I don't feel older, but like that's, so I was like, I like remember my parents being this old, like that's.
I've been talking to you before we started recording about the new Stallone documentary, which it's called Sly. It's on Netflix. It really should watch it, but he says something in there. I'm watching it and he says, I'm not going to try to do a Stallone impression. He says, basically, all the time up to 40 is addition. Everything after 40 is subtraction.
Oh, don't say that.
And I was like, oh, man, that's
don't
true.
Say that.
That is true. So you're aging. You're going to be 40. Tell me about what that means and taking care of yourself. And in whatever way you want to start with, whether it means mentally, physically, whatever it is.
It's definitely more in front of you. You definitely have to be more conscious of it, or I think it will kick your ass really fast. Mm-hmm. Our habits have to change. God, that's hard. It's hard to think about. No, I think I have really good lifestyle choices and really okay lifestyle choices, and those have to shift dramatically, or I feel like I'm going to just kind of fall into the normal rut that I feel like a lot of people do fall into. I have a very diabetic friendly family. I have a very food is comfort family, which I love and adore, but I got to get that stuff in check or it's gonna catch up to me.
Food is comfort. Tell me about that.
It was just always it's just always what I go to, the fast food and
So can I ask a kind of a hypothetical?
Yeah, please.
So let's just say you got in a fight with a friend and like you guys are yelling at each other. You guys go your separate ways. Would that be an example where, oh man, you know what? I want some McDonald's that'll help me feel better. What McDonald's just pulling it out of there, whatever it may be.
That or in a pinch, like a scheduling pinch. I would never go for the bottle. I'd go for the Big Mac. Because they're so good.
Well, it's probably because they are good. And unfortunately, I've been eating more fast food as of late than I have in a long time.
God, it's so good.
It tastes really good.
It
tastes
so good.
really good.
I really thought my hernia developed right when I had a Whopper, and I thought that was gonna associate, but no, they're still so fucking good. I don't care.
I don't know if I've ever had a Whopper, to be honest with you.
You never had a Whopper?
I don't think so, because when I was a kid, I only wanted ketchup and cheese on everything. Now, there are certain things. Like when I go to Wendy's, I love Wendy's burgers.
That was the first cheeseburger I adored with everything. Adored.
You adored?
I fucking loved. No, that was the first, because I was a plain kid too. Yeah. It was just hamburger. But I had a full like Wendy's cheeseburger with all the fixings. I was just like, I like this now. And it was like, Wendy's is still top tier for me.
Wendy's is real good.
Yeah.
So what else? Like, are you a sweets guy or a savory guy? Or both?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And kind of moving out of the house gets you into all kinds of foods. I found in my experience. No, you give me some Sour Patch Kids or some Reese Pieces or some Bunch of Crunch.
What'd you give us right before we recorded here?
That was a Halloween pumpkin of Reese cups. Yeah. Halloween sale, CVS, baby.
What was your comfort food as a kid?
Probably the same it is now. Honestly, it's probably fast food. I just went on a Happy Meal binge because I had to get all the boo buckets.
The what?
The Halloween boo buckets.
What's a boo bucket?
You don't know what the boo buckets are?
No.
You know the pumpkin buckets back in the day when we were kids?
Oh, fuck yeah. That's what I had for trick-or-treating.
So they came back last year, but now there's a new variant. There were 4, I shouldn't say variant this time, of the country in the world of COVID. I'm just kidding. No, they put out 4 Halloween buckets this year. So, and we had got to catch them all kind of vibe. So, me and my sister were on the hunt across the country. I found them in 2 days.
So you have all 4 of those?
Oh yeah.
Did you use them did you trick or treat this year?
They're so small this year. No, they're too small. No.
What are they trying to say? Is that like when they gave apples with Happy Meals?
Are they too small or did we grow up?
That's a trick question.
Yeah.
Don't ask me that.
That's
again.
the trick cereal theory.
Sad.
Do you know the trick cereal theory?
Silly rabbit tricks are for kids.
Yeah, so they used to be colored like balls, and now then they turned to fruit. You remember when that
I didn't know it turned to fruit. I've never been a tricks guy.
Well, it evolved to fruit. Does Brent know about this? Anyway, it evolved.
You leave Brent alone.
It evolved to fruit, but they say it didn't evolve to fruit. We just don't see it as balls anymore because tricks are for kids.
My mind is blown. I'm just looking over at Brent. Listen, you don't talk to Brent.
How did we get here?
I don't know. Yeah,
we've been on mute for 2 minutes.
Brent, we've been on thinking about that tricks thing, and people are at home going, "Oh, fuck!" And
45 seconds of silence.
Now I want some tricks.
Wade, go to the store. Wade, look at me. Thank you, Wade. Go to the store. Pick some tricks up, bring it back here. We'll take a look and we'll see who's kids. So my comfort food as a kid, my mom used to make me tomato soup and grilled cheese. Very simple.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and I loved it. But now let's talk about my relationship with food.
Yeah.
I love fast food. I love fried food. I love food that's terrible for you, but I fucking hate food. I find it annoying. I don't want to think about it. I'd rather, if I could, I'd take a pill in the morning and be done with it. And some people have kind of a visceral reaction to that. Oh, God, I love food. It's so good. It's not that I don't like the taste of some food. I just would rather not talk about it. I'm over here worrying about everything else. I don't need to think about food. So one of the challenges I've had as I've gotten older, never been a cook. I've always said, oh, I'd like to get into cooking, but I'm not patient. And I don't care about food.
Yeah.
So one of the challenges is I still eat very poorly, and obviously that is not sustainable for the most part. And so I worry about what I'm eating, but at the same time, I'm like, well, it tastes good, and I don't have to think about it. Do you cook for yourself much?
I can. I get in waves, and I have my 2 or 3 things.
What are they?
Make a really good black bean stew.
Oh.
Yeah. A lot of varieties with eggs. I've really gotten into making my own ramen. Not like college ramen, like big bold, like everything about the kitchen sink ramen.
I made ramen as a 41-year-old. Am I still in college?
It's goddamn delicious. No, I get it. Yeah. No. Another thing about food that's a big to me with my family, it's like the around the table. Like it's an event. You go to have conversation, to break bread, what, it's like the difference between drinking alone and like going to a pub. Like it's a very different thing, but that's what I do when we go home. Like me and my sister and the rest of my family will go to we'll go to a barbecue spot, and like that's what we're doing. Like that's the event for the day. Like, and we're like happy about that, and we love it. But it's just like, how do you balance it all?
Do you guys ever play cards in restaurants?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
It's the best.
I love cards. Love rummy.
Cards are the best. That's why I was so happy we found Foxtrot. Foxtrot's at Bodega.
Oh,
it was like
tell us what Foxtrot is.
Foxtrot's, I think they're a nationwide bodega. I saw them in DC. No, but they're like this, they're kind of this boutique bodega thing. You can get coffee and a breakfast sandwich, or you can get a 12-pack and put it by your table. Yeah. I think we got Kentucky cold snacks and played cards for like 3 hours.
Yeah, that was great. And then we went to see a movie afterwards.
Was that the thing? I think that was
the thing. But hey, for the 3 people out there who are like me, what was it, like 3 or about 6 months ago? I'd never seen The Thing. That is one of the best. Happy. John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I wasn't mad. I was so excited you hadn't seen it. To experience someone who hasn't seen The Thing is like a blessing.
Oh, in the theater with a packed theater with people reacting to it. Of course, almost everybody there, not everybody, but almost everybody there, I'm sure had seen it 100 times.
Super shout out to the Music Box.
Yes.
Maybe the best venue, if not the best venue in the city.
I tend to agree with that. It's a wonderful place. You and I have gone to see a ton of movies there. And tell me why you like movies, John. Ooh, that's a big one.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. I had Wade write up some questions beforehand. That was one. Good job, Wade.
It's Dad, man. Dad.
It's your dad?
Yeah, me and you quote movies that me and my dad have been quoting for, decades before we met.
And you have along with my buddy Michael, you have quite a head for movie quotes. Brent as well. Brent has, again, I've told this story before, I'll tell it again. When I first met Brent, I was auditioning for an improv group he was in, and I misquoted the Kentucky Fried Movie, and Brent made sure that everybody in that room and the Tri-County area knew that I was wrong. And you know what? Brent was right. I was wrong.
And I can confirm this podcast would have started about 10 minutes early if we weren't quoting Major League.
I know. We like all 3 of us. Wade. Interesting.
Oh, I don't know.
I got a guy on the other line.
We'll just do a reading.
I mean, you and I, John, have watched Major League together maybe 4 times, maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that.
How many times sober?
0 times. We'd always have a beer.
Wait, I don't remember so when I helped you move from Tennessee, we made the stupid idea to start drinking early, and we were trying to pack your bathroom, and then next time we were in bed together watching a movie, and you knew I fell asleep because I wasn't quoting.
Yeah, it was Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and you knew I passed out.
Yeah,
because I wasn't quoting it.
We were both quoting. We were that annoying, but because both of us were doing it, it kind of balanced out. It wasn't, and we love that movie so much.
Well, you wine and dined me. Like we packed a little bit. It was good beer, and then you ordered P.F. Chang's. Do not remember eating it. And then we just we laid down together and watched Ghostbusters.
And then I finally go, John. Oh, John. All right, John, you got to go into the other room. Huh? Oh, okay.
Needless to say, quoting movies is a
still
huge part of our relationship.
This might be. I believe Ghostbusters is the most quotable movie ever.
I'd agree with that. That or Wayne's World,
in my opinion. Wayne's World I quote almost every day.
I'm trying to think of between me and my uncle and my father and what me and you quote. And it's pretty much. I think if you did a test of who said what, you couldn't tell who, because it's always
Well, you guys quote Big Trouble, which I've only seen a couple times.
Yeah, a ton of Big Trouble. A lot of Animal House.
Yeah,
a lot of Wayne's World. Yeah.
Your dad loves Wayne's World?
Oh yeah, a lot of Caddyshack.
Sure. I was born to love you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very little.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So it is funny that we're all quoting Ghostbusters from '84, and it's just it's a really cool. It's created a lot of my relationships. Is movies. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned how many times have we watched Major League sober, and I said 0. Tell me about when you're with somebody. I'll start like this.
Yeah.
I love drinking with friends because it seems to bring back a time that no longer exists. And I call it's a form of nostalgia that, like all nostalgia, is a destroyer of worlds. But to drink with friends that you've drank with before, and you have that first or second beer, it is such an exhilarating feeling, being like, oh my God, we're going to laugh like we did before. All of these things. And tell me about your relationship with that, and especially in Chicago, which is a big drinking city, and going out, meeting people, very much like you said with your family. We go to a barbecue, but you go to a bar and you hang out with people. I love that. Tell me about that for you.
Yeah. Well, another main reason I lost so much weight during the pandemic is there aren't breweries, or at least, or you have to drive everywhere in Orlando where I was. But it's the culture that's so sexy and romantic, and it's just so wonderful. I can't get enough of the culture. I think that's why I gravitate.
Tell me about you mean like the brewery culture?
Yeah, yeah, in Chicago specifically. There and that's obviously because Chicago, I think, was my first real adult love for a city, and that was just ingrained. We were all in our 20s, and that's it. But just the breweries in the city, and just the tap rooms, and just the architecture of them, and just it's so Chicago to me that I just it's so I so romanticize it.
Did you just growl at me?
I did not. That's sexy.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, it's animalistic. No,
Animalize?
Oh, please. If
we're not talking about Kiss. I'm sorry I said it.
For the record,
I'm sorry I said it.
For the record, Kevin opened the Kiss door.
My mistake.
Either way, that's what it's essentially what you're saying too, with the 2 beer laugh thing, where you're chasing this idea. It's not even necessarily an idea. It's very real. It's just it's the breaking point of when it goes bad, or it maybe doesn't go bad, but it's just too risky for.
What is the risk?
Well, perfect examples, because it's happened to both of us. We could be playing rummy all day at a bar, and then it just stops, and then on me, you got to go home, or I got to go home, or it's 3 a.m. and now I got an hour to get home, and then it just gets all bad. It's
you're not gonna. Wow, I'm sorry.
I thought you were quoting something.
No, I think it's I was.
I got to put the banana in the tailpipe.
A little upset. What's that from?
Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, I've only seen that a couple times. Okay. All right. Hey, Brent, please. And you're not going to get sleep, real sleep.
No.
You're going to get horrible sleep.
Nope.
Listen to us, a couple old men over here.
Yeah.
When did you come to this realization, do you think?
October 28th.
Wait, of this year?
It was a Halloween party. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we always have those, morning after feelings. But it was really, I think, and it's got to be compared to age, right? But it was there was a Halloween party, and there's this beautiful tub of spotted cow out of Wisconsin. And I didn't even drink a lot, but it was just knocked me on my ass the next morning. And no one, I don't think, really knew outside of my buddy Joel. We got coffee the morning. I was I can't do this anymore. I was I really, I was so upset because, while I was present, I wasn't as present as I wanted to be, because like whenever there's like a late night, and I like, because I work in Andersonville area in Chicago, and my buddy Joel, he lives right by my restaurant. So when there's like a party or super late night, I just crash on his couch, and we always get coffee the next morning just to kind of, see each other off. But it just, I was so mad that I wasn't like present with him
At the coffee.
Yeah, I just wanted to go. I was like, I just need to be.
Were you feeling depressed?
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that depressing feeling after you've drank.
I think it's the most common.
Yeah.
There's nothing original about it. It's sad. It's depressed. You regret things you didn't even like do. You just feel like I personally just feel like just a monster of a person. And that's my mind games. Back to running, if you're not working your brain out, me personally, then I'm in my head all day. And like
mind games. It's a John Lennon song, Brent. I don't know what he said, and I'm not going to entertain him to say it again.
I know it's true.
So,
anyway, yeah.
Tell me about too what it does to your creativity. Something that is very important to you. It came across earlier in our conversation, but anybody who knows John for more than 10 minutes knows that creativity is very important. So, what does drinking do to your creativity?
It's kind of like also being at the brewery. Sometimes it can help if it's the right amount. I don't even think it helps. I think it's entertaining to the brain. I don't think it helps. I think alcohol does what running does to my mind in a shorter amount of time, in a more toxic way, if that makes sense.
Without the benefits.
Yeah. Well, no, you get benefits, but it can go away.
Long-term benefits, maybe.
Yeah. Like I've had great writing sessions with friends over like bourbon. Like it's awesome, but it's also like you got that aftermath when the creativity's gone. But I can also run 10 miles and take a shower and then go to a writing session and feel just as energized, and then walk away with benefits.
Here's a pseudoscience question. Do you think that alcohol is engaging that part of your brain that is also the thing that propels you to be creative?
Whether that's true or not, it gives the illusion. Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
At least to me, and I think to people like you and me, I think it does. But the thing that also pisses me off as a person is I was a goody two shoes in high school. Mm-hmm. I didn't drink till I was 22, and I was super creative. I was super successful. I was booking work out of my conservatory out of New York. I was in summer stock right out of school. I didn't go. I went against the norm with that stuff.
Did you do summer stock theater and not drink?
I did a very little bit, but not. I didn't. My first one, no.
I think that's illegal. Actually,
I was a goody two shoes.
Wow.
Mainly because I was in upstate New York and they didn't know how to make martinis.
Ooh. That's a hot take.
It was really funny.
I lived in upstate New York doing summer stock. Where were you?
Naples, New York.
That's probably not a real place. I was in Cortland, New York.
It was probably like 30 minutes outside of Rochester.
Okay.
But I took such pride in that, and not that I thought I was better. I was just like, I didn't need any of that. And like, you get anxiety not being included, but then after you do drink, you really get anxiety of not being included. 'Cause now I do know the culture, and the culture is great. At times. So now you yearn for it and miss it. So that's been hard, but I know I can do it. And I kind of miss goody two shoes John, for lack of vanilla John.
Mm-hmm.
I never needed any of that stuff. Proms and homecomings and
right. I didn't drink in high school.
Nothing.
I just played a shit ton of euchre. And I mean a lot of euchre.
That checks.
The greatest card game
Never
known
played.
to man.
Don't know how to play.
I don't even want to talk about it to you anymore.
You invited me?
Yeah.
So no, but that's it's something where like I kind of appreciate that I'm well-rounded, knowing the cultures and stuff, but I also really miss the old me too. And that's not me thinking that I failed or missed out. I don't even know if I want that completely back, but like I was a lot more strict and militant with myself, and I was successful. Maybe,
but you've been plenty successful.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's also because like there's the ebbs and flows of being an artist that no one talks about in school.
And what would those ebbs and flows
where
be?
you're gonna work a hell of a lot for a couple of years, and then you might not work for 5, and then you'll be right back. But it's like the consistency of being an artist, like being available and being there. Like you don't lose it. You have to have faith that it's gonna like. ideally come back. That was a whole strain of different subjects, but and I don't think drinking's to blame for that. But I think if I was more applying myself physically towards running and working out and writing and mental health care and stuff like that, I do think I would be miles above. But there's also just something about there's something like me and you don't need pitchers of beer to like have a good time together. Like I think most of our times growing up in the city were over coffee.
Yep.
But it's just like, it's just so fun.
It's fun. It's
not necessary.
Exhilaration.
Yeah.
No, but again, the culture, and Chicago's cold.
Yeah.
And it lends itself to that, where you can meet with somebody in a bar where it is warm.
You earn it.
Okay.
Sorry, sexy.
No, that's okay. Well, I want to come at, take it back to running, because, I'm getting all these emails about, do you want to run for charity again in the Chicago marathon next year? And I'm looking at that like, oh, Jesus Christ.
You have a week.
That's all I have left?
For the lottery window, yeah.
Oh, no, I would run for charity again.
I think you have a week for that too. I'm not totally sure.
Boy, I better figure it out, huh? So, one of the things, even though I bitched about it, especially the second half of it, that I loved about the marathon was the training. I did the Hal Higdon novice one.
So.
Yeah. I bitched about it because it's hard.
Yeah.
The second half of it is very hard. But I have diagnosed, here's how I like to say it. I have diagnosed OCD. I'm not just OCD about folders or whatever it is. When people say, I'm OCD about the dishes. Well, I'm OCD about life. And that lent itself to that routine, 4 runs a week for 18 weeks, really made my brain happy.
What a great way to utilize what you take most of the time in your life as maybe a quote unquote a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like what a wonderful way to benefit and like utilize that, as opposed to looking at it as like, a problem.
Well, that's it. Thank you. And it's true. It scratched that itch. It scratched the routine itch for me big time. And you, I know, have, as you said at the beginning, you've run 31 of these, and often you're, to use your word, undertrained. And our last episode, you talked about how you trained pretty religiously for the first couple.
Mm-hmm.
You've already signed up for next year's marathon.
Yep.
Tell us, when you sign up for that, is it like coming home? What does that feel like?
It's anxiety driven now, because it used to be a couple months out for re-signups. I think it used to be like February, but it's like a week after. You don't even know if you want to run ever again. But it's more of an anxiety driven thing. It's like getting money up for it, knowing if you want to do it, planning something a year out. I will never not do it if I'm here, but it's more about that, and then thinking about it. It's almost something I don't think about. I don't get excited about it right now. I really don't get excited about it until I go to the expo. Once I'm there, I'm just like, holy shit, this is happening.
So the expo is at McCormick Place. So it's this giant, McCormick Place is a huge conference center. I think it's like the biggest in the world, or one of the biggest.
One of those statements is true.
Thank you. And it's huge, and there's all these vendors and all the stuff, and you go and you got to pick up your bib. They're very, do not send somebody to pick up your bib. You will pick it up yourself, So
they're harder than TSA.
It's pretty hardcore.
Some airports, yeah.
So when you get there, what are the thoughts going through your head when you get to the expo?
Well, I was super excited because Tracy, my sister, had never seen it. I was like, this is it. This is like, holy shit. Plus, we love a sample.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's where it's like, holy shit, it's happening. Because you talk about it, and like, you did it, and you were also in the burbs. Like, you're just running. You're like, why am I doing this? Like, this doesn't make,
I did a lot of my training in the suburbs. Yeah.
Why does this apply? Like, it's so, probably why I don't do it, which I need to do it. But it all makes sense. You're just like, holy shit. Like, this is why, it's like, I don't know, going into Tech Week or something for a show.
Sure.
Only less painful, but,
a little less painful.
Yeah. Just for it just like, you just see the world, literally the world, coming into this expo hall to get all their, like, everybody from every country and state, every state's represented, like 20 plus countries are represented. Like, it's amazing.
So you're signed up for next year. I guess I have to make my decision much sooner than I thought, which is
I
fine.
believe so. I don't know how charities work. I apologize. I've never run for charity.
Well, what happens? Okay, got it.
So it might be different for you. I still would look into it just in case if you're.
Well, they're emailing me a lot, so I'll
that
look into
money.
that. Damn it. So, John, as a runner, as somebody who's run 31 marathons, as a creative person, as somebody who, like all of us, time is passing, we get older, whether we like it or not. Tell us about where you are right now in your life, with all of those things kind of converging with a pretty well-known milestone of the 40th birthday.
Extremely grounded with my family.
Can't beat that.
Can't beat that, which is a rarity to a lot, which I'm very fortunate to have. Generally very happy, but also so completely confused at what's next. Because I'm a big fan of like having things on my docket, you know, and
right.
It's not a scared thing. I'm not worried about aging. But I just gotta figure out what's kind of next. I'm just kind of trucking along, and I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, but I'm just kind of going day to day and working, and I'm just trying to. It's a very confusing time. It's not a bad time like at all, but it's just a very like confusing time, and I think that's because I don't have anything on my radar that I'm like I need to get that. You know, like,
you don't have any. Well, that's another great thing about the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
It is quite a signpost that you are focused on.
Yeah.
Whether you're training every day or not, it's coming.
Yeah.
And it frames the way that you think.
And also not to be cheesy, but like there's so many life lessons and mottos and everything about the marathon that could be related to life. And like, this might just be those middle miles where you're just like, they're there and they aren't good, but you got to get through them. And like, that might just be what this is right now, you know? And again, to preface, like, I'm not, I'm in a good place. I'm just in a very like gray place. Like it's not, I just like kind of don't like what's next, what's going on, you know? I think cause I hit some very good highs artistically within the past like couple years, and it's been very low. Like I was in acting classes for film coming up, and then the strike happened. Like I was like maybe kind of starting to veer more towards film, but like I can always work on myself though. And that's where like the running can come in, and you know, reading can come in, and staying stable and focusing to be prepared. And that's where, again, the consistency is so essential to keep working. Like I might not be booked, but like I can always be working out. I can always be learning. I can always be reading. And that's kind of where I am. I've been having amazing, another thing from the Artist Way, like dates with yourself. I love going to the movies and just like watching things. I love going to the movies alone. It's my favorite. I don't have to worry about anybody's opinion of it.
Yeah. And it's just like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to have a good time.
There's nothing worse than somebody, oh, that was off. Like, I was like, oh man, I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not mad you didn't like it, but like, oh man, now I'm like, just worried about it. Like, I like going to concerts alone. Like, I love doing things with people, but like also like, I can just go and just like, oh, well, thank you. You know,
John, we've covered a lot of territory today.
We sure did.
And I thank you for coming back on again. I really do. And for all of the coffees we've had and all of the support and inspiration you gave to me as we build up to the marathon meant a lot to me. So thank you for that. As we're wrapping up, is there anything else that maybe you would like to say that you didn't get a chance to say during this episode?
Per usual, this is like my third, fourth podcast in my life. So hope it made sense. I think, I feel like my podcasts are what my morning pages look like. They're just kind of scatterbrained. Mm-hmm. They're not grammatically correct. They're everywhere. I guess I want to ask you, like, with no pressure, do you think you're going to do it again? Do you think you're going to run again?
It's tempting.
If not next year, again, like, are you interested?
I would like to run one again. Yeah. Like is the wrong word. I would like to. Like again is the wrong word. I could see myself trying to run one again.
Yeah, there's one in Champaign that's pretty good.
Oh yeah,
very close to your fam.
Yeah,
on campus.
I did it because I wanted to see if I could do it. I did it. but now I kind of want to see if I can do it again.
Yeah. Actually, if I could,
Please.
One thing that's this is kind of related, and it's a big full circle moment about aging too, and my father and music and culture and getting older. Like, we do joke about Kiss, but they're playing their last show in New York City on December 2nd, and I'm going to be there, which is going to be this weird emotional thing, and I'm really trying to make it not be closure with like what I have with that importance of the band and like me and my father and things like that. So I'm hoping that like opens up this new, I hope it keeps, I just hope it doesn't close something, if that makes any kind of sense. Cause they're so ingrained in my, my bloodline with my father and my uncle and my whole family. I'm hoping that doesn't like, I don't know. I know that was the most random thing to close with, but does any of that make sense?
It does. I mean, something that you share with your father, and for all intents and purposes, the touring apparently is coming to an end with Kiss. I say that because they've had like 4 farewell tours or something. 2. Shut up. 2 times 2 is 4, and that's something I know you've shared with your dad. But the good news is, but it wasn't like you and your dad shared Kiss because you went to the shows together all the time. Yeah. Although you've been to many, you shared it because of the whole culture of Kiss.
Yeah.
And his love of it when he was a kid and how excited he was when he first saw them. And then he imbued that excitement onto you. And you know that you're an extremely talented musician, and you would be the first to say, yeah, Kiss isn't the most mind-blowing music of all time, but it means...
I don't remember saying that.
Yeah, well, I'm putting words in your mouth.
You know what it is?
What?
Chasing nostalgia. I hope it's not that. That what we find in the pints. You know how we keep trying to,
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll see. I mean, I think it's going to be a pretty cool night for you. And I hope you FaceTime your dad while you're doing it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. John, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And for everybody else who's listening, everybody else who's listening, what does that even mean? I guess everybody else... Wow.
I'm very happy this ended with you being confused.
Yeah, I'm very confused. For everybody who is listening, I'll end the same way that I try to every time. There is always room for kindness and grace, even with ourselves. I forget it all the time. I try to remember it, but there is always room for kindness and grace. And we will see you next time on Sad Times.
You've been listening to a Fourth Hand Joint.